obsidian, indigenous, aboriginal, my tribe, not the friendly one. Spirit, mind, intuition, keep a thing cause I'm in a physical dimension. Arrows and feathers, ancestral guidance and protection, cause the road I'm on ain't nowhere near delicate. Nowhere near delicate.
And let's talk about this civil rights bill, though. Oh, my mama, bruh. I keep hearing, oh, you tellers wouldn't be here without the civil rights bill, but you're not breaking it down. Let me break this thing down for you right quick. You know what I'm saying? So you can really get it. But first, let's put everything out. Let's lay it out. We're going to talk about, you know what I'm saying, all this division that's going on right now in an honest way. You know what I mean? Black Americans and immigrants of color. You know what I mean? How we get grouped together politically, culturally, and racially, even though we experience America differently. You know what I'm saying? And this difference didn't come from nowhere. It didn't start on social media. And it really ain't got nothing to do with personal prejudice. You know what I'm saying? This has everything to do with legislation, policy sequencing, and all of the events that happened after the civil rights movement. Most notably, the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. How come they never highlight that the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 is what got the immigrants of color over into America? Let's talk about why that matters. But first, before we do that, let's just give a little brief history and breakdown of who these people were in the 1960s fighting for civil rights. Okay, who were these people? These are people who were descendants of the freed slaves. Although their history did not start in America as slaves, another video. But for the sake of this video, we're going to start right there at the end of 1865 with the 13th Amendment. You know what I'm saying? Boom, slavery's over. But it didn't come with land, it didn't come with resources, and it didn't come with protection, right? So 1865, boom, in less than 40 years, they didn't already built independent towns, business districts, schools, churches, banks, newspapers, hospitals, they doctors, they everything, right? In less than 40 years? All right, there's a reason for that. But anyway, we'll get into that later, another video. You got places like Tulsa, Oklahoma, feel me? Black Wall Street, got shit smacking. You got Rosewood, Florida, you feel me? Got shit smacking. Communities in Chicago, Atlanta, St. Louis, Detroit, New York, smacking. I'm talking about cranking up with no inclusion. This is during segregation, mind you. This is not charity projects. This is straight out the mud, hard work, and really it's just ancestral and muscle memory, because you can't get free from slavery like that and then just turn around and build empires. You had to have done it before. You see what I'm saying? Boom. Let's keep going. These was during segregation, and these were self-sustaining economic ecosystems. I read somewhere Tulsa, Oklahoma was doing business with other nations, other countries. You had one powerhouse, a city doing business with nations. Let that sink in. You know what I'm saying? 1910s and 1930, you starting to see Black prosperity grow. You know what I mean? But it was met with organized white violence. Organized. You had the bombing, burning, and looting of Tulsa in 1921. In 1923, Rosewood was erased entirely. And you had dozens of other Black districts destroyed and undermined through violence, zoning laws, redlining, insurance denial, and policing. Now, how you going to deny somebody insurance and then turn around and burn their stuff down? That's a cold joker, man. It's jealousy. But remember that. Jealousy. Operating out of fear. Remember that. It's important. We're going to get on that later. And it wasn't random racism. This was economic containment. You know what I'm saying? You don't hate somebody and then just go strategically destroy their whole town. Nah, it's because they knocking you out. They blowing you out the water, and you can't really compete. You are the minority in America, so you can't compete. So you have to resort to the scum of the earth tactic. You know what I'm saying? Uh, these are the people we talking about. These are this is the stock that these people come from. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Mid 20th century. Segregation locks black Americans into underfunded schools, restricted housing, excluded labor markets. Even under Jim Crow, they still built institutions, organized politically, and accumulated skills and networks. You know what I'm saying? Very highly skilled people, even under Jim Crow. All right. By the 1950s and 60s, it wasn't no longer a question of if Black Americans could thrive. It was, would the system allow them to? You see what I'm saying? How long before these fools come, hit the corner, and do something crazy on us? You know what I'm saying? Because they see we got it lit over here. By the 60s, this is already understood. Okay? During segregation, no help, no involvement. Let's go. So this sets the stage for the civil rights movement. Now we getting into this political space, right? Where we saying, okay, um, when we do get into your neighborhoods, we don't have no protection. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We tired of y'all doing this and doing that. We want civil rights. Like we tired of y'all coming and doing acts of violence on us, burning down our churches, whoopty whoopty whoop, and etc. We want protection. And this is where the civil rights legislation is coming in. We're actually marching for this. It's not the fact that we didn't have anything. It's the fact that everything that we constantly are building is getting destroyed and we have no protection. You see what I'm saying? This is what a civil right is. All right? It's not a begging for a handout. No, civil rights. Can you please be civil? You uncivilized heathen over there. Keep coming in my neighborhood. Please be civil. That's what civil rights was about. Okay? Now, um, they didn't start from nothing. They was just trying to protect everything that they had already built and they were continuing to build. You see what I'm saying? Building wealth and institutions under impossible conditions. We need protection. You know what I'm saying? To see your gains destroyed through state tolerated violence, we need protection. You know what I'm saying? Being locked out of recovery and reparations for generations, we need protection. And the only way we felt that we can get that was through a civil rights movement. You know what I'm saying? Legislation. The demands were very specific. These were the things we were asking for with the Civil Rights Bill: equal access to jobs, voting rights, protection from state violence, fair housing. You understand? This movement wasn't about no immigration. Why would we be worried about immigration? Why would immigration be a bullet point on the list at this time? It's not. Okay, so how did it get there? Boom. Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. Now, what did that do? That ended racially explicit immigration quotas, right? That ended this whole notion that the European immigrant was high priority and should be the only one considered of coming into America, uh, first and foremost, and primarily and exclusively, right? That ended that. It ended it. And it opened up a large scale immigration from Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, and Latin America. All right. That's what he did do. Um, but this law was not a condition of civil rights legislation. It was. It wasn't. It wasn't something that we asked for. It wasn't authored by Black organizations, and it was not a debate widely had within Black communities. Not at all. We're sitting around tables talking about, damn, bro, they just burnt this whole town down, bro. We need immigrants. No, that wasn't even on the table. We wasn't talking about that. You know what I mean? It was introduced by President Lyndon B. Johnson and Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy, right? So you had a few prominent black individuals who supported it on moral grounds. You know what I mean? Like a black American always does. We consider others. We very hospitable and got integrity, and we think about other people. If we see somebody around the world going through something, we stand up, we fight, we speak loud, we protest, and whoopty whoop. You feel me? So that moral compass is always there, but that doesn't mean that it was a equal collective consent. It's not something that every black person, Negro American, was sitting and rooting for and campaigning for. Immigration was not on the list at all, not for us. And this was the perfect time. It's no coincidence. I think that the timing was everything with this, right? And this is usually where the conversation falls apart when you start telling people who descend from uh, immigrants of color in America. This is where the conversation gets sticky for 'em, right? Because for a Black American, in hindsight, looking at this, knowing the American history story, I can see the play. You see what I'm saying? I can see the play. And I hate to sound like that dude that always, you know what I'm saying, the conspiracy theory, everything deeper than what it is, but I can see the play. Sure, okay, you niggas want civil rights. Okay, we'll give it to you. We'll give it to you, right? Uh, but we'll do it under one condition. You let some immigrants come in so we can create competition and stifle your economic progression in the future and forevermore. You see what I'm saying? I can see a jealous person who couldn't defeat you and compete with you on any level doing something like that behind closed doors, off top. You know what I mean? Because we was already in the position to consolidate urban political power. You know what I mean? We had the protection now to do everything that we did prior to having protection during segregation. Now we got the protection to go further with it, right? Strengthen our unions, um, expand our black owned business, you know what I'm saying, globally, right? And translate civil rights into economic leverage and vice versa, right? Take that economic leverage and turn it into political power. Again, all these things are interconnected. These are the things that we were spearheading with the Civil Rights Bill. These are the things we were asking for, right? Because we were trying to fix things that never happened, like land redistribution, wealth correction, that big old wealth gap that was created through 400-year Head Start. And several years prior to that, stifling indigenous economies and taking over. And come on, bro, we was trying to get back. We had reached a point where we finally get some legislation, but it got a little caveat in there, right? So these are the things that uh, we didn't see at the time, but these would pose potential, problems for us, right? Because now you got immigration expanding rapidly. You have labor markets being diversified. So whereas we couldn't even get access to the job living among y'all, living among these folks, these settlers, we couldn't even get access to the job at one point. Now you're going to diversify the labor market and say, no, I'm going to take him and keep you down. You see what I'm saying? I mean, these are the realities. This is where this is where they don't want to have a conversation. And let me go over a list of a few other things, and I'm going to talk about why it's hard to have this conversation. But you got the labor markets being diversified, right? Uh, Urban competition is increasing, right? You got the political language changing, and the political aesthetics is changing as well, right? Where minority is now replacing black, right? Because before it was black and you knew black and that was black and that was that. Now you got minority where this person might appear to be black, but no, he's really from somewhere else and has allegiance to somewhere else. He's just in America for opportunity, right? Um, that person is not there to fix the economic inequalities that were already there before he got there, right? He's there to add on to the competition and not help to repair the situation that was pre-existing. You dig? And this is not an accident. This is structural, man. When I say we lived among our colonizer for so long, we know their games. We never ran from America. We stayed right there and fought it out with them in every way possible. Man, we know what be going on. We know the little tricky, little underhanded tricks. And this is where the conversation get crazy, because when you say these things to people who are not foundationally from America, and by the way, I'm not a foundational Black American, but and for my obvious, for my very good reasons, but I will say, um, the term foundational Black American, I do like it. It's just some of their talking points and some of the ways that they handle things. I just can't get all the way down with it. You dig what I'm saying? My granny is Indian. I come from Indian stock. You feel me? So we're not going to start with Black. But for the sake of this conversation, I do, you know what I'm saying, use the term Black because that's what the legal term, the label was at this specific time. But my ancestors was Indian on paperwork, not Black. Black didn't exist. You feel me? So this division thing, right? Labor competition, narrative displacement, political flattening, all of these are the byproducts of this Immigration Act. These are all things that were created under the Immigration Act of 1965, right? This term people of color, it's collapsing our history and our unique struggle. People of color. What? Color crayon box got hella colors in it. We really only was talking about one Black Negro race that was going through something, and now we all people of color. Man, that don't mean nothing. We got Black specific repair that need to be happening right now. And that's very specific. You dig what I'm saying? So the immigrants often view America as a land of opportunity, and Black Americans, we view it as we coming to get that debt paid. You dig? Like you owe us something. And this is the same country. We just got different experiences, different points of views. And I don't think it'll ever be aligned. You feel me? The sentiment won't be the same until they go back home and do the same thing. You feel me? So hopefully what's happening here is they'll begin to understand the history a little bit better, and they will choose to go home in numbers with the education that they've received. I guess through watching us do this thing successfully and go back home and do it in their own land. This is where I see it going. And to be clear, it's just I'm not blaming immigrants and I'm not denying their struggles, but their struggles don't have an origin on the American soil. They have a struggle somewhere else, right? And this is the truth of the matter. And, you know, we changed the law once, we're going to change it again, and we're going to change it in our favor this time. We can't continue to keep looking out for people that don't care about us. And that's just what it is. It's no hate. It's all love.
Yeah. Black obsidian, indigenous, aboriginal, my tribe, not the friendly one. Spirit, mind, intuition. Keep a thing, cause I'm in a physical dimension. Arrows and feathers, ancestral guidance and protection. Cause